Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tatiana. I'm a business coach and mentor for women wanting to start their own stationery businesses, and I am so excited you are here. If you have been here before, welcome back. If you're new, I would love for you to take a look around my channel, see if you like it, watch some videos, get comfortable, and then hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I talk about entrepreneurship, motherhood, life, and I love to get tons of encouragement to women wanting to get out of their own way and finally get started. So if that seems like something that you'd be interested in, absolutely hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the family. So today's video is going to be a bit of a fun one. It's a story time, but also very real and deep as well. And it's all about how I built up the courage to finally launch my planner. And it was a long time coming, and I wanted to share this because if you've been following along on my journey, I've talked a lot about my story, my past, how I got to become an entrepreneur, how I got to this point, and different things like that. But I've never really sat down and really talked about in depth some of the experiences that I had with my planner. So I thought that I would share that with you guys a little bit more in depth, just in terms of the first time I tried to launch a planner, even before that when I started my business, to the second time, which ended up being the final time, because now I've actually been doing it for about 2 years now. But before we get into that, I wanted to let you know I have a really fun challenge that is going to be coming up, taking place February 8th through the 10th. It is called Ideas to Reality Challenge, and it's creating your planner concept. So taking it from out of your head, something you've been thinking about, whether it's a planner or a journal, and taking it out of your head and turning it into a concept. During the challenge, we're going to be working together for 3 days with a mix of some pre-recorded trainings and live training as well to help you take that idea, turn it into an actual concept, meaning you're going to know what the pages are going to have on them. You're going to know what your cover could potentially look like, what's the binding style, and by the end of it you will have an outline of what your pages are going to be, so that will set you up to then be able to get your planner designed, whether by another company or by yourself, and so on. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that challenge, and like I said, it's going to be February 8th through the 10th, click the link down below, click on the Ideas to Reality Challenge to learn a little bit more about that and sign up. And you'll get an email right away with more information about how to get into the challenge. So basically, I wanted to share that first because I'm talking a lot about handmade planners, journals, and just that whole process. And so it naturally fits for me to tell this story today because you might be dealing with some of these similar experiences and feelings when it comes to wanting to finally get this thing out there, but you continue to stop yourself. And so when I first started my business back in 2016, I knew then that I wanted to have my own planner. I had been into what you could kind of call like the planner community at that point for about, I would say maybe 2.5 years or so at that point. I had always been in a planning and organization on and off throughout my whole life. So that was not anything new, but the actual like online planner community I had been a part of. And so I knew that I wanted to make my own planner. I just thought that that was so cool. I love that concept. And I really got inspired by just so many shops that were popping up on the scene and the stickers and all of the different things. And when I actually opened my Etsy shop, I had planner inserts. So I ended up opening with A5 planner inserts. And actually even before that, I had these like digital cards that did not do well. I don't even think I sold one, mainly because I didn't even know what I was doing at that point. But I always like to just mention that sometimes because like sometimes I forget that that was even a thing. But I did A5 planner inserts, and so I thought for myself that was a great thing to get started with. Then I didn't have to figure out a whole bunch of extra details of, you know, the cover and how I wanted it to look, and oh, should I do a different size? It's like, nope, I'm doing A5 inserts. I was really into A5 planning at the time. I had so many A5 binders, so it was perfect. I could use those to take pictures of my inserts in there, and that was what I started with. But I always knew in the back of my head I wanted to create my own planner, like the whole thing all in one. And it was always in the back of my head. So eventually I ended up adding on stickers. I did personal cards and stationery for a little bit. I started adding on notebooks, and then eventually I started my subscription box. And so I have played around and dibbled and dabbled in a lot of different areas within, I guess you could say, the stationery umbrella. I did a little bit of everything, and I really enjoyed that time period because it allowed for me to really get a feel for what I like, get a feel for what other people liked, And especially when I had did my box, at that point I had already kind of had an experience with a little bit of everything, so it allowed for me to really offer a nice variety in the box. And so now fast forward to 2018. So at this point I was pregnant with my daughter, and I had been in business at this point for about almost 3 years, and I was just like, I really want to make this planner. I think it would be really fun. And I started kind of looking into it. And so I still stuck with what I was comfortable with, and I decided I was going to do an A5 style planner. So it was an A5 planner inserts basically, but I was providing the binder as well. And so I went on Alibaba. At this point I was really comfortable with ordering on Alibaba. I had ordered so many things, especially for my boxes and stuff over the years, washi tape, pins, sticky notes, all kinds of things. And so I found a company on there, and they had these really cute kind of like cloth style A5 binders, and I'll insert some pictures and stuff so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. And I found it, and so I ended up ordering, I think, 1 or 2 of them as a sample earlier in that year to just see if I liked it, what they would look like. And so, you know, it takes several weeks for stuff to get here, so, you know, I kind of ordered it. But in the meantime, I was working on the overall just design of the pages and the layout and everything, and how it was going to look. I had a little sticker page with it and all of these different things. Well, I was very pregnant, and I ended up leaving my job earlier or later on in that year. As the year went on, I want to say it was like of June of that year. And so my focus kind of shifted, and then I ended up wanting to start this other random brand out of nowhere. If you really have been following along with my journey, you may or may not know I started a brand briefly. It was called Be You Always, and it was actually really cool. It was just a women empowerment brand, all about just telling other women's stories, and I had like apparel with it and different things, and I really loved that. I would love to still do something like that at some point, but I just was trying to do too much. And on top of it, I had in the back of my head that I wanted to do this planner. And so I had got the samples, I had took pictures with it, and I was getting really excited about it. And then the doubt and the fear started to set in for me. So at this point, I had did all the research. I was ready to go. I was doing something I was comfortable with, A5 inserts. I had been doing it for years. And there was really no reason why I couldn't have just went ahead and ordered my binders, and I would have had everything ready to go. But I totally sabotaged the entire situation. So it was coming up on the time for me to have my daughter, and she ended up being born on August 30th. And at that time, as I talked to you guys on this channel, that is like the peak time where you need to be starting to let people know, like, hey, I got a planner coming, you know, for the next year. It's a great time to start really getting people excited. And it was like the last thing on my mind. And so I kind of let it go. I just was like, I don't think I'm going to do it. A lot of the reasons that I was in my head about it was just because at that point, I had been doing my business for a little bit. I was definitely getting sales. I had my regular customers and things, but I just didn't feel like the business was really doing anything for me. I don't know. I was starting to kind of feel like, you know, is this something I still want to do? You know, it wasn't taking off like I was hoping. It wasn't like this big booming business. And I got really discouraged in that. And I've talked about that in some of my other past videos before, like especially a couple years ago. If you see some of my older vlogs, when I used to talk about my subscription boxes, it's just sometimes I think when we have this picture of what our success is supposed to look like, a lot of times we are comparing it to someone else's success journey and, you know, the things that they're going through. And so I definitely was playing a lot of the comparison game when it came to just seeing what other stationery businesses out there were doing, whether they were doing something similar to me or not. And I just kind of took that and I thought, well, if I'm not up here with them, then obviously I'm not doing something right. Obviously this is not successful. And so I continued to play that in my head over and over again. And it really stopped me from giving myself a chance to, you know, really see where this thing could go. And I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm going to just continue doing my subscription box. I ended up having to send out that one late that month because I ended up having my daughter, which luckily my subscribers were really understanding about that. And so after I had her and things were kind of getting a little bit calmed down, I was starting to get used to being a mom and really get back into the swing of things. At this point, I was not working like a just normal 9 to 5 job. So I really had a lot of time, and I was like, maybe I was doing my box every month, but I thought maybe I will go ahead and do the planner. But at this point, I had waited, I felt like, too long. So I didn't really say anything about my planner until probably sometime in October, maybe like the end of October. I don't remember. I'm gonna actually insert a clip of the video that I filmed right here.
I have a question. What's that one thing you've always wanted to do? And an even better question, why haven't you done it? I get it. Life is crazy, trying to maintain all the things. Being a great mom, making time for yourself, the endless to-do list, the daily hustle and bustle, doing a great job at work, maintaining relationships, and on top of that, trying to accomplish those big goals and dreams that you have. The 2019 Live, Love, Inspire Planner was designed with all of this in mind. With a full goal setting and self-love section, you'll be ready to go for the new year. You'll be able to focus on all of those ideas and goals and dreams, and even just the small things that have just been looming around in your mind, but you haven't quite got them to be organized just yet. You'll turn them into exceptional projects and goals that you'll be able to accomplish month after month and define your year, because this will be your year. And every single month, the pages will be filled with inspirational and motivational quotes to get you going for your best month, every month. With a monthly overview section and a master plan. And we can't forget about the 2-page monthly spread. It'll set you up for a great week every week. And you'll get a chance to recap it all. So are you ready? Get your 2019 Live, Love, Inspire Planner at www.thestationerymuse.com and get ready for your year.
And so that video was kind of like my promo video, basically, where I was just sharing a little bit more about the planner. Like, I really, when I do things, I do really like to put my all into it and go all out. But in this situation, I really waited till the last minute in terms of just the buying season. And so I already felt like I had a small audience as it was. And so I really did myself a disservice by not really launching and ramping up the way that I should have for the planner, which makes sense. I mean, I was a new mom. So it did not go well. So on top of that, so I finally had made up my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do it. I placed the order for those planner, the binders, like I mentioned to you guys. And so I got a couple different colors. They were able to get it in teal, it was a light blue, and a gray. And they were able to pick from those 3 colors. So I ordered a bulk amount of those. I did not get crazy, but I ordered a little bulk amount so that I could have them. And I ordered those probably at maybe the beginning of November, probably sometime in there. So meanwhile, you know, I'm talking about the planner. I think I filmed a couple videos of me using the planner on this channel, because this channel used to be the Stationery Muse channel. And it was just like weird, because I had ordered stuff from Alibaba in the past and nothing came. Like, nothing ever came. Still to this day, like years later, I never got them. I ended up putting in a dispute, so I was able to get my money back. But I just kind of took that as like, okay, this is a sign that I'm not supposed to be doing this. And so I kind of stopped talking about it. I know my mom, I think she got one. I ended up having to cancel hers because I never got them. All I had was the samples. And so I think there ended up being, I think, 2 or 3 sales of those. And the one lady, I ended up shipping hers because I had the sample, so I sent hers. The other person had just ordered the insert pages only. I remember that, and I was just like so thankful, because I thought I was going to have to possibly cancel order. So I ended up sending her just her pages and she was fine. And then I didn't even have one because I had shipped my sample that I would have used. So that was kind of how that went. It was very interesting, y'all. And I just don't know what happened. So I took that as a sign of like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing this. And so that was in 2018. So a whole year goes by and I just felt like such a failure. I felt like, oh my God, like, why did you wait to the last minute? You could have ordered those and you could have had the stuff come in advance. You know, nobody was even interested anyway. You only had a handful of people and blah, 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 blah. Like all of these things I was telling myself. So I was just like, okay, maybe it's just not for me. And so I ended up doing Vlogmas that holiday season, so in 2019. And I said on one of my videos, I don't even know where this epiphany came from. I think just from me being a little bit more honest with myself of what I really wanted for my life and for my business. And that's basically what I have to say about that. So I will have a planner coming again. It is in the works and it's something that you can expect next year. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Just my legacy I want to leave and different things, I really came back to the idea of wanting to do this planner. And so if you keep coming back to an idea, you know, if you feel like you keep talking yourself out of something, but then it keeps coming back up, you keep thinking about it, you keep seeing it, you keep getting signs and different things, the Holy Spirit keep telling you like, okay, girl, this is what you really need to be doing. If you keep getting those different things, then 9 times out of 10, it's for a reason. And so I stated in one of my videos, I was just like, I will be coming out with a planner next year. And I was scared that I said that, but I ended up putting it on there. And yeah, so then the following year, I was like, okay, I said it. And I always tell people all the time, when you are scared of a goal that you have or something, announce it. Because once you announce it to people, even if it's just one person or it's 100 people or whatever the case is, once you announce it, somebody out there knows. Now, whether or not they're going to come down and be hunting you down like, okay, you said you was going to do. But you put it out there. And I know how I am. If I put it out there and I tell somebody I'm going to do something, it's really hard for me to then like back out on that. So I purposely was like, I'm going to put this vlog up saying I'm going to bring this planner out because that's going to give me that accountability that I need to keep going with it. And so I went full force with the research going into the new year of getting this planner created. And so I had 100% made up in my mind that I was going to be working with a manufacturer overseas. And I had never done that type of overseas thing before. I had only ever ordered like, you know, like little custom small products and things. So I had a lot of experience with that, but not necessarily a planner at that time. And so I kept looking, I was getting quotes from different people, you know, negotiating, going back and forth, and it just never was the right fit. It was always either, you know, they wanted me to get 500 and I was just like, that's a lot, especially for somebody who like is kind of still scared to even do it. And then it would be situations where they would only do it in like one style. And, you know, my business, one of the big things about my business is I love to give people the opportunity to personalize different things. That was one of the big things about my subscription box. People got customized items with like their initial or their name or their skin tone or whatever the case is in the box. And so I knew that I wanted that to be a part of this planner journey for me. And so it was just like, it wasn't a good fit. Everything that I was finding, it was either too expensive, way too many of them that I just did not want that many, or then I started to realize like it was very limiting for me. So that was when I was just like, okay, I think I'm going to attempt to do this by hand. I was doing a lot of handmade products for a number of years at that point with my box, with even just some of my normal products in the shop. I was making stickers. And I had also did my handmade Live, Love, Inspire notebook at the time as well. So I had a lot of experience with it, especially with that notebook. It had really kind of gave me an inside look at what it could be like to bind something myself. So I started researching online, and I'm going to be honest, there was really not a lot on YouTube for hardcover binding. I don't know what it was. I ended up finding one. I'm going to shout her out too. The channel is C Lemon here on YouTube, but it was a really old video. Like, it's really old now because it was really old then. It was an older video, but she was talking about, I think it was like, she was using fabric to cover bookboard. And I was like, oh, this is a really interesting technique. And so I ended up making some tweaks and some changes to the process. And I decided to just play around with it. And I remember before I even made a planner, I just made a cover because I was just curious more so about the process of that. Like, I knew I could print paper and cut it down and punch paper, but the cover was the part that was the most intimidating to me. And a lot of times I hear with other women out there as well, that's always the biggest thing too, is like, what do I do about the cover? And so I knew that I wanted it to be hardcover. And I do have to just mention that I did have to make a lot of changes from what I originally wanted my planner to look like, because I knew that I originally wanted it to be like a lay flat type of planner that you could open up and have like a little ribbon coming out. And I mainly wanted that because I'm left-handed and I'm not a huge fan of binded coiled items, and I love lay flat types of things because I don't have to worry about my hand running into stuff. And so that was the main reason why, but I also just like the way that it looks. It's really nice. I like how it feels when you hold it. And so that was the reason why I wanted to go with the manufacturers. But as time went on, I just started to realize like maybe this is just not the route for me right now. Not to say I won't ever do I keep wanting to say a flat lay type of book or journal or something at some point. But I didn't let that stop me. And so prior to this happening, I feel like every time there was a setback, I looked at that as a sign that I wasn't supposed to be doing it. But this time, every time I had a setback, I looked at it like, no, this might not be working out, but we're going to go to plan B. Okay, that don't seem like it's working out. Okay, we're going to go to plan C. And so even when I started researching the hardcover process with the wire O, I was still kind of like, okay, I don't know a whole lot about this at all, but I'm going to give it a try because I had that previous experience with those Live, Love, Inspire notebooks that I did the previous year. So I was just like, okay, let's give this a try, see what this would be like. I ended up using sticker paper instead of fabric, which was a huge thing for me because one thing about me with handmade stuff, in my experience, I do not like doing things with glue. So anything that requires me to do glue, I'm just like, no, I'm good. So that was why I decided to do the sticker paper instead. And it worked out. The planner be looking good, y'all. And it was the first time I actually made one. I mean, I did a whole series on here showing how I launched the planner. So if you haven't checked that out, I'll be sure to have it linked around for you to see. But was crazy. I was in my office by myself. I remember my husband was in the other room, probably like playing a game or something, and I was in there, like it was super quiet in there, and I put it together. Now this was before I started filming my planner series. This was my very first one I put together. So there was mistakes and different things. I didn't even have the right bookboard thickness yet. Like I just was trying it out. And so I put it together and I was shaking the whole time I did it. I was shaking the whole time, and then I got it put together and I just couldn't believe it. It was just like, whoa, this is in my hands. And it's one of the best feelings. I always tell clients, and it's nothing like holding something you've been thinking about. And I'm not even just talking about like a planner or even a stationery item, but just in general. If you are trying to start a business and you've been thinking about this item in your head for so long, and it's just been this kind of figment of your imagination, but you can see it. And then when you're finally holding it, it's a surreal feeling. And it honestly, I can compare it on a very small scale to when my daughter was born. And I mean it again on a very small scale, but it's literally like it's something you've created. It's something you've thought about for so long. It seems so far away, yet you know that it's coming, similar to that. And then it's like when I was holding it, like I was like tearing up. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe like that I actually made this thing happen. So it's a really incredible experience. And I wanted to just share this experience with you guys because it definitely did not just come to me overnight. It did not just all come together. I had a lot of kinks and mistakes and things I had to work through. I've shared that as well in a video of just like how my launch went. My first one did, so I'll make sure that's linked for you too. But overall, the biggest takeaway that I got from this is that we have to believe in ourselves. We have to take the idea and turn it into the reality. And that's similar to the challenge, you know, the challenge that I was talking about that I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks. Because what I want for you is whatever you've been thinking about. If you're watching this channel, I'm pretty sure you have some product idea in your head, even if it's not a planner or a journal. But I really want you to take that idea and I want you to run with it. I want you to act like money is not an option right now. Like the fact that you may not be familiar with a software to be an option right now, or to be something stopping you right now, or with somebody else's opinion of you, or your past mistake. Take all of those things out of the equation. Look at this as if it's a brand new situation. You're approaching it with fresh eyes. You're excited and you just want to see what happens. And when you think about what I said, if you think about just the sample, like I always say, just get to the sample, just get to holding it in your hands. When you get to that point, it just, all of the other stuff it just goes away. So that was why I wanted to share it, because for some people, you know, you may look and be like, oh my gosh, she did it, and, you know, like all these things, but like I did it, but it was not something that came easy to me. It was something that took a long time to talk myself into. I had to go through some setbacks. I had to go through some mindset shifts, and I had to really build up the courage to believe in myself and really have the faith, you know, to see this thing through. Because even after I created that one, I still was scared. I still was like, okay, yeah, I'm holding this. This is exciting, but am I really about to put this thing out there for people? You know, like, and at that point I had been working on it for the whole year up until that point. I made the first one like over the summer of 2020. And so at least for like 5 or 6 months, I had been working on that thing. And so I was just like, do I really want to tell people about this? Like, is this really happening? And yeah, so it was really scary. It was definitely an experience that I won't forget. And I always, even now when I'm trying to talk myself out of relaunching and different things like that, I always just go back to that moment, because I felt like it was at, like, let's see, that was in 2020. That was about 4 years in the making to get to that moment for me. From the moment of when I started my business, knowing, oh my gosh, I want to make a planner one day. That would be so cool. You know, to then trying to do it and failing, completely flopping, to then building up the courage to do it again. And I just think about that moment, because just in entrepreneurship in general, I've learned that I'm not even gonna say I'm gonna specifically say I, because everybody is different, but I know I constantly have to reassure myself that I can do something. I have to remind myself that it's okay to be scared. It's okay to even take some days to process what I'm getting ready to do or whatever it is. But at the end, I know that I have to show up for myself in order to see the results. I have to believe in myself in order to see it through. So it's a constant thing that I have to do over and over again, but it has been so rewarding to be able to hold my own product. And even more so when you see other people using your stuff, that as well, you know, it's just like, oh my God, people are actually using my thing. They actually like it. Like, it's crazy. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this little story time video. I really just wanted to kind of sit down and just chat, not really have a plan too much of what I was going to say. But all in all, the biggest takeaway, if you are still watching this video, and if you are still watching this video, comment down below faith. That is my word of the year, and I really just want to exude that this year, and sharing that if you have faith, if you believe that he can do it for you, he will. And so faith, comment down below if you're still watching. But the biggest takeaway I wanted to just say is that you can do this. You can make this happen. You absolutely will have setbacks. You will want to give up. That is normal. But if you see it through, it's going to be so much more worth it on the other side. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching my video. Make sure you check out the Ideas to Reality Challenge, because it is going to be going down February 8th through the 10th. And I would love for you to be a part of it. And that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.